Amazing. Guys, welcome to the Levels of Value podcast. I've been wanting to get this one over the line for a minute. Yeah, I'm here with Barbie Figueroa. Is that how you say it? Or do you have to roll the tongue?
Figueroa. Hola,
Figueroa, I knew. I knew
Figueroa.
I love that one. I love that one. Listen, this ain't your usual Barbie in a box. This is the Barbie that fought outside the box. Okay? So make sure you like and subscribe. This girl here, yeah, went straight past the moon and straight to the nebula. Barbie, people think faith and business are two separate tracks, especially in their beginning. I know at least I did, right? Like you either have to be in the hustle category or you're in the spiritual category, right? And with your story and your catalog, like you blow that up, right? Your systems, your brand, all of it, right? It seems to it's your approach seems not to be like chasing business, but it started off like really having a snowball effect when you start chasing alignment. When I look at your story, right? I
Hmm.
see a clip on Instagram, like Rick Ross was talking like I'd rather take time than waste time. So I thought about that, like, okay, that's pretty good. Like, is that direction? Is that patience? Or is that aware of alignment? Or what does alignment look and feel like to you, Bobby?
Man, that's a really good question, and it is very aligned to where I've been in the last few weeks. So really, just quickly for your audience that doesn't know who I am, really quick, my name is Barbie Figueroa, and I've been in the online space since 2007. And I've raised children online. I mean, not online, but I've been here since the iPhone came out. I saw Twitter be born, and I was back here since the MySpace days, you know? And
Mm,
when I first got started, basically my goal was just how can I make some money so that I can be there for my kids? That was really the big thing. And so through my journey, honestly, there's actually a if we're going to talk about like if you want to talk about God and connection and alignment and all these things, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a
yeah,
before
yeah.
and there was a
Oh,
before and there was an after. And so, like everybody else, I wanted, like the big checks and the recurring commissions and the passive income and all the things, you know.
100%.
And I was trying to make it in like affiliate marketing, network marketing, all the things, because when you are just kind of like rolling with things, you don't have an actual career or whatever, you just kind of just roll with things and see where you fit. You know, it's like kind of like you're a puzzle piece and you're trying to figure out where you fit. So that was kind of like how I kind of did things. And then I discovered video marketing and all these things. But um I knew that what I wanted to do was create like a recurring income. So anyway, I did network marketing and stuff, and I did it. I like went on the stage and I was able to make some recurring income, the whole thing, everything that
Wow.
everyone says that, oh, I want this. And so it came to a turning point. I'm going to get to alignment in a second, but it came to a turning point where I was actually with a network marketing company back in the day, and I had hit Star Diamond, and it was really cool, and I got the awards and the things and the pins and all stuff, and I got invited to walk across the stage during the conference for that company,
Oh,
and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like everything that I've ever wanted. So, but I had a problem because the day of the award ceremony, it was my middle son's birthday. And so here's the weird, what is it, the irony of the whole situation. I was walking across the stage while my son was home sharing his birthday cake with my husband, and mommy wasn't there. And that's when I realized something's not right with this picture. At least for me. It wasn't something wasn't right with this picture, because here I am
mm,
trying to build this business to be present for my family, and on such a special day, I'm not there. So what's going on? What's wrong with this thing? What is off of alignment, right? What's wrong? And that's when I realized I'm like, if I have to chase money and success and sacrifice my family in the meantime, it's not worth it for me. It's not worth it, you know? And so I was like, something has to change, because I mean, it's the ultimate irony. In my mind, it was the ultimate irony. I'm thousands away from my baby when I should have been there. And guess what? That company no longer exists. You know what I'm saying? So what are we
Okay.
chasing? I would ask you, what are we chasing? What are we actually chasing, right? And so, because some of, I mean, we're chasing money, we're chasing awards, we're chasing recognition. What are we really, really doing all of this for? And that was one thing that I had to really ask myself. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do like lead converting website design and branding because, I love people. I love to see an individual like, like express their fullest potential in business because I believe that is the fullest expression of God in a person, which is in business, using your strengths, your gifts, your talents to serve other people. And that's just such an amazing thing. But
Mm.
I had to go through a personal like growth in order for me to really lock into that idea of, I want to do it. I don't want to do it the world's way. I want to do God's way. That's basically the realization that I came through, right? And that was alignment for me. So I hope I'm not freaking out saying these things or whatever, but you asked me about alignment, so I got to tell you where it comes from, and so then I anyway, so I was doing the lead converting website design and all stuff. But in reality, there are business models that support the kind of life you want to live, and there's others that don't. And so I knew that I still wanted to do passive recurring income, but I wanted to do it in a way that was in alignment with being present for my family, using my strengths, my gifts, my talents, all those things. And that's when I discovered this company that I discovered after we got hit by a hurricane. I ended up, working with them, and it was absolutely incredible. And I was able to, like do things I've never done before. I like, you know, well, to me, the small things are hitting the leaderboards and getting the awards and all this stuff. What I was able to do was meet so many amazing people and impact my family. That was like a huge, huge thing. And so when you're asking about like what is your point of alignment? It's God. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, we've been created for a reason, for a purpose, and our job is to express that through business. And so I don't always get it right because the world is very strong, and you want to, like, it's like money and this and that and awards and recognition and stuff, and we're constantly battling between the way the world wants you to pursue success and the way God wants you to have success. So for
Real.
me, it's always remembering to go back to, am I aligned with my creator? That is what alignment is for me. Or am I like a kite and I've gone too far off and I got to reel myself back in? You know what I'm saying?
We want to take the time to big up HelloFresh on the Levels of Value podcast. You wanted to eat, so don't complain when there's a lot on your plate. But I'm on your team. You got work, you got kids, you got projects, and only 24 hours in a day. Wouldn't it bug you? Wouldn't it bug you until you can figure out how everyone's getting by and getting it done? Well, here's where you can catch up and speed past without sacrificing quality. HelloFresh is bringing the recipe. HelloFresh is bringing the ingredients. You don't even need an apron. You can make some of this stuff in record time and in the comfort of a tracksuit or a onesie. I love the smell of fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're not stingy with the meat portions. I've got a little fish curry joint, and yeah, when the tits are that big, everyone gets in line. But you're not even waiting in line. If you click that button, you can catch 16 free meals the hard way, delivered to your doorstep while you're still dancing in your sliders. For independent people, it's easy to find a meal that tickles your taste buds. I ain't had meatballs because I quit pork 5-7 years ago, but HelloFresh, they had this option, this beef meatballs, and it tasted like Jesus washed my tongue with a toothbrush. And just before he finished, he rings you. Whoever's watching this video, he rings you and tells you that you're good enough. Check out that link.
I see you shining. Yeah, Barbie. I love the way you also, you have a hyper awareness for them little things. You don't overlook, how 1 + 1 is equal 2. And
Mhm.
yeah, these small incremental but intentional stuff leans into a quote which I love, which is like small planes land in big destinations. And the fact
Mhm.
that, if you don't overlook that, I think you can even surprise yourself on this growth journey and in that alignment, right? Like to the point where first you create your habits and your habits create you. And it might seem small, but it can keep you on that narrow path of alignment, of success, of growth. However, you mentioned that dichotomy of real tension of hustle bustle culture. And there is a real tension. There's a real tension of being a person of faith in the online business space. Like people are almost watching to see, you've been around for a long while, so you've probably had fair shares of comments or targeting is the price for admission being public figures. Like, but people are watching to see you slip, Barbie. Did you ever feel the weight of that? Like, oh, okay, she calls herself a Christian, but yeah, what was that like? Did you ever feel that in the online space from where you started and to now? Like, has that changed or?
I've been around since 2007. So I try not to think about it too. Well, I mean, I do think about it sometimes, right? Because it's like how you
I'm
see
only
yourself and
human,
how
man.
there's how you see yourself, there's how you think other people see you, and then
Ooh,
there's how they actually see you, right?
ooh.
And yeah, there's like you say, there's levels to this. Yeah, clock it, right? So there's levels to this, and I think about this sometimes when I walk my dog in the morning. I'm like, man, I have literally uh okay, I don't think people think about it as much as we do. Like we internalize things because we only really live world through our perspective. Like if a campaign didn't go right, or if you were with a company and then something happened and now you're over here, and other people, I don't think they really care. But because we're living through it, it feels like super duper amplified in our heads. You know what I'm saying? At least for me. And so
Me too.
I don't know that I've ever worried about people waiting to see me like stumble or whatever. I'm just trying to every day. All I know is that every single day I just get up and I'm like, I'm still in the fight. I'm still going. I'm still moving. I'm still, and where it leads me, I don't know always. And that's what faith is about, right?
Ooh.
It's moving even when you have no idea what you're doing. And that is a secret. A lot of
Uh,
people literally have zero idea what they're doing. There is no manual, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, there is no real manual other than to follow the internal guidance system that you have, and hopefully it lands on something. And then of course obviously you have some skill sets and that kind of structure you and everything. But like a lot, if you ask a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure that many of them are will tell you the same thing. Half of the time we're not exactly sure what we're doing, we're just doing. You know what I mean? But they're led by some sort of, like I said, like an internal guidance system, like a purpose, like a thing. And then so as far as like I think I'm harder on myself than anything. I really do. I think I'm just harder on myself than anything, because it's like, wow, it's like this didn't work, or I was with this company, I was at the very top, and now boom, that's not a thing anymore. And it's humbling too. It's a reminder of, back to what I said before, what are we chasing?
oh,
And so it is, and it is and I realize it's just it's something that helps ground me is, instead of chasing, like I said, money, recognition, this and that, what is the purpose behind what are you doing? And because the purpose doesn't really change. And I know I'm going a little bit off on a tangent, a little bit, but like how people say, oh, just follow your passion and all that stuff. But passion's like a fire, and a fire can die out, right? It's the purpose that is the anchor, I think. And so you can have different passions as we grow as individuals, but as long as my purpose has never changed. I still want to be a present wife. I still want to be a present mom, and maybe one day even a grandma. I don't know. So the purpose hasn't changed, and helping people use their God-given talents. To me, I love seeing people work in their gifting. I love seeing people make money in their gifting.
like,
You know what I'm saying? Because
oh,
we've already been built with everything that we need. It's just figuring out, it's like shining the diamond, right? It's like you're a lump of coal, and how do you get the diamond out of the coal? And so, but anyway, back to your question. Like, I don't really think about it so much, because I'm just trying to make it to the next day, and trying to figure out what is my next thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if that
One
that that
stage
answers.
was that reply. It was so it reminded me of that quote. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it was like the brain is a terrible master, or uh it's a good, what is it, a good friend or I can't even remember it. So I'm gonna, but we're gonna keep it pushing. That's what I'm with. If I can't remember it quick enough, there's no point staying still. You know what I
Google it,
mean?
Google
No,
it.
no, there's no point staying still. But yeah, I think it's great that you have this moral obligation in the business space, because we've seen what happens when people don't, and it's the most dangerous things that were compete with, because these days a lot of things is it may not happen like individual to individual. It's systematically to individual. So some people maybe don't want to see it, and some people can't see it because it's yeah, we're just that deep um in our way of living versus liberating ourselves in a reality of our choosing. Looking at your story, you know, we got Barbie Figueroa here, and all she wanted to be is a present, happily married, stay-at-home mom. So cool. When I'm looking at your story in the year 2000, you leave your 9 to 5, right, in the construction industry to come raise that firstborn son you was talking about, right? And you're learning business skills, uh, skills that have utility in the market, right? That allow her to obviously maneuver in the way that she is. And that's interesting to me. You also mentioned gift. I read in a book that's been around for a long time ago. I think you know what I'm talking about. It says your gift will make it said your gift. Your what your gift like, and at this age, I've read the Bible now three and three quarters now, yeah. And it's only on this time when I'm there, like, he didn't say your job, right? He didn't say
Right.
your looks. He didn't say your, and I was sitting back and I was there like, your gift. And the way that you obviously, you know, you stress that and you silver line that cloud, I think, yeah, it's people best put up or you're putting down. You know what I'm saying? You best come in here and understand what's going on in here, man.
Let me
Wow.
tell you.
So
Uh,
I I've not experienced anything like yours. We're definitely going to get into that. I had a flood in my headquarters, right? It wasn't a Noah's Ark, Barbie, but goddamn, I'd have loved the little messenger to come and be a little warning, right? And it's at that point where my pivot was from like network marketing into you know, James's RPM. I was aware of you guys, you know, the good role star children, and I was just loving what you was doing, and you was very important people for me at, you know,
mm,
at a very important awakening stage. Like, see, the pandemic happened with the hammer which I was in. Now they didn't let you use the internet, and you can't talk to people because obviously the pandemic's here, and I'm inside. So I'm there like, yo, this business model has become like a prison for me. And I'm like so loyal and I've got so much grit and such resilience, but sometimes our our over loyalty to situations has been the devastating downfall. And the
absolutely.
fact that, you know, your gift will make room for you. I'm inside, I can't speak to no one. I'm showing them, like, you know, obviously I'm learning from you guys. My first beautiful lead magnet is great. Like, you know, I'm sure they're like, yeah, you can't use that, you can't use that. So I had to make a business decision. And I don't hate my
Uh,
network marketing journey because I might not be here talking to you. I may not understand the importance of habits, you know, patience, like all the people which I've seen, which have got the greatest relationships, and I've seen them in network marketing. So yeah, my pivot from network marketing, that company and that structure.
uh-huh.
When we're speaking about pivoting, tell me about, you know, the you went, like I said, my flood was nothing like yours. I mean, it was bad. It was to my knee. You know, I didn't want to sleep in the bed because if I got out the bed, like it would have, I'd have just I'd have just been in it, you know. So I just slept in a computer chair, and I was watching a film. I think it was called Unbroken. It's based on a real life story about an athlete who gets caught in the Japanese and the American koalas, and he's an athlete, and you know, just he manages to stay alive long enough until it is over, which is interesting to me as well because you know that's entrepreneurship, right? Sooner or later, it don't become a game of this or that. It's just how long can you how long can you hold your breath? But yeah, tell me about Hurricane Irma and how it affected you and your peoples and the neighbors and who once called a place home.
Yeah, well, that was that was man, it's almost like when everyone's rock bottom is different, or everyone's wake up call, I would say. Not rock bottom. Everyone's wake up call is different. Sometimes you have to get shaken by the shoulders before you actually pivot. And when you were talking about loyalty, I am that person too. I am loyal to a fault. It's like that's my dad. My dad, God rest his soul. He was super loyal, and he was a company man, and he's like, you just gotta show up and do your thing, and and he really ingrained that into me. And sometimes it's, there's a famous song, I don't know if you've heard it because I'm aging myself, but it's from Kenny Rogers, like, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. You gotta know when it's time to run. You need to know when it's time to pivot. And sometimes we get emotionally caught up in that feeling of loyalty, where it almost like we try to help others while we're actually hurting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that nothing is wasted, and God's always teaching us lessons. We're always learning something, you know? And so as far as the hurricane, it was a scary time, but it was actually the biggest blessing looking back. Because, you know, we were in the middle of the hurricane, and actually we were in the middle of a move too. We were moving from place to place. And then the hurricane hit. I was doing lead converting website design. I was working on a client job. I didn't have any other clients in the pipeline because I didn't have really, for my design business, I didn't have funnels. I didn't have all that stuff. Like, I never, you know what? I never connected the affiliate world that teaches you funnels, lead magnets, all that stuff with the design world, which is more one to one. And now, after all of this, everything that I've gone through, now it's like, oh, now I know how to connect them. You know, now it's like I know how to offer services, consulting, and funnels and all that stuff. I just didn't know how to do it before, but that was part of the learning process, right? But anyway,
Are you
when
saying that
the
you wouldn't have learned that if you went if you that didn't happen? You don't think that you learning them skills? Oh wow.
yeah, you wouldn't have learned if had you not gone through the experience, you wouldn't have
Perspective.
learned.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
so
mm.
don't hate the journey, even though sometimes things are really difficult and challenging, and it feels like, oh my gosh, like when is the hard part going to end? But all of that is preparing you for the next level. It is, you know, it's like don't hate the small beginning. I remember I'm veering off a little bit from the hurricane. I'll get back to it real quick, but I remember in the very beginning when I was building that company, the software as a service company, like most people don't get past signing 5 people up because it if you want to really make a significant amount of money in network marketing or affiliate marketing, you have got to go through the hard part. You have got to see one lead, one new sign up, one video, the one. That's the foundation. It's like the pillars. If you can't get past that, then you're not going to get to the 6 figures because you're trying to skip the foundation, and you got to build that foundation strong. You know what I'm saying? So it's the small things. I realize it is the small things. It's being patient while the seed is growing. It's not planting the thing in the
What's
ground
that?
and then looking to
Law of
see.
gestation. I
Yeah,
like
it's
that
the
from you.
gestation.
Yay.
It's the law of gestation. You can't plant a seed and then just stare at it, stare at the
Ah.
ground. No, you got to let it go, plant
Mm.
it, know that you did the best that you could, and then keep going, keep it moving until you start building momentum. But anyhow, so when the hurricane came, that's when I realized my business model had to change, you know? And then I was like, I wish I could have like some like recurring income, something that didn't just depend on me, something that where, you know, like I could make money from people all around the world, that it wasn't confined to my physical location. Because if something happens here, that's it. Your business, I mean, even all the local businesses here, if you're not on the internet and you're not doing business worldwide, something happens and then boom, your income is affected. So all those things I was thinking about. So those are the things that the hurricane taught me, you know? And then I found the company and I built it. And then I don't know if this is coming up real quick. I'm saying that the meetings. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, so then that was the pivotal moment. It was the pivotal moment, you know. And when you look back on your life, I'm sure that there's like a handful of like pivotal moments. It was the moment that the hurricane hit that this changed. It was the moment that I was standing by the fax machine and my employer at the time was like, "Do you really want to have your kid?" And I'm like, "Yes." And that made me want to leave the 9 to 5 so that I could work from home. There's pivotal moments, and there's just a few of them, I'm sure, if you look back in your life, that you're like, it was that one moment, that one thing that changed everything, that made me say, I'm going to go to the next level. Right. And so that's what the hurricane did for us. And yeah, we were without internet for 21 days. And but thank be to God, I was able to recover from that and build business of my dreams that no
Hosanna,
longer
Hosanna,
exists. But it was,
Hosanna,
but like,
Hosanna.
but like in Ecclesiastes, everything has a season. So that's
Yeah.
why we can't look at it as failure. It's just a season, you know?
Ooh. Yeah.
That's what I
Drop that
learned.
viral. Viral. Yeah. Okay, that is so
Yeah.
cool. That is again your perspective and your adamant perseverance, right? And just
Uh,
I mean, it's similar to like Joseph's story, where it's like these things we got, like you're gifted early, suffered a lot. Also, when I went through my flood and I heard about your situation, I'm there like, I mean, she's the only one who can probably fathom this. Also, I've not had this kind of convo with no one because no one we live in it, like no one has experienced that, and it wasn't like
uh,
it came over the city. It was just like really too individual, right? But you're gifted early, suffered in the middle, and then positioned for freaking impact later. Like this is like the Joseph story, right? Like
yeah.
your that hurricane armor you're saying was a pit before the palace moment. And yeah, that's a beautiful moment for anyone who's, at any stage of the beginning or the middle. Yeah. Around the corner, you may be in for the blessing of your life, right? If you're getting anything from that.
The
But I don't want to
sun.
talk about Joseph. I want to talk about Daniel in Babylon, right? Because okay, cool. He's thriving in a culture that maybe didn't share his values, right? I know America's a big place. From here to there is a big place. But he doesn't compromise his identity, which is hard in a city of bright lights. Like, do you feel like you're operating in obviously in the area which you are, and then obviously now online and everything? Like, do you feel like you're operating in a Babylon sometimes? Like, how do you stay Daniel
Well,
in?
if you mean by Babylon, when I hear you say that, I hear like the world's way versus God's way. Like the world's way is the hustle and the the hustle, the grind, the dog eat dog, it's just about the money
The
and all
bucket.
those things. Yeah, those things. And yeah, the way God built me, man, sometimes like, God, why'd you build me this way? Like it's just that I'm a very feeling person. I'm a very feeling person. It's like in my chest I have like a tuning fork. That's the best way I can say it. And if I feel off, I'm very perceptive. So if I feel off about something, I can't do it. It's like trying to sell a product you don't believe in. I can't do it. But there's a million people that are willing to do that. But I can't do it. I'm not built that way. So that's why it's like if I endorse something, but you better trust and believe. At least at that moment, I believe in it. Now looking back, I'll be like, oh yeah. But at that moment, I believe in it. And so that's what it is. I again, everything absolutely. And now in this day and age where things are just freaking crazy and stuff, because now we've got this whole layer of on top of everything, it's AI. So like how do we distinguish ourselves? Like how do we differentiate ourselves
Yeah, I do
in a
think,
time?
and don't compromise our identity. Every other day, a new shiny thing is coming. Like every other
Yeah,
day.
I honestly think it goes back to like I think the what do you call it? The barometer, the thing that keeps it like it's almost like the common denominator in a fraction. I'm not really good with math, but like the line that keeps everything level
Okay.
is your purpose. You always go back to your purpose because I bet you if you really look back and say, why am I doing this? Like, what is it about the online world? Right? Because I'm like, why don't I just go get a job? Because then I won't be present. That's the point.
Mm.
So that keeps me like, no, it's gotta, at least for now, unless God tells me otherwise. But for now, it has to be online because that online gives me the flexibility. When you do it, when you record a video, that video keeps working for you over and over and over again. When you put up a funnel, that funnel keeps on working for you over and over and over again. If I'm somewhere else, if I'm somewhere else, I'm not with my family. So that is the thing that really kept me. So that's what I would say. What is your purpose? What is your why? What is the thing? What is your non-negotiable? Right? And then, okay, so great.
But you gotta
I
have
know
values and standards,
you
and
have to have
you
your
really
values
honor
and
that in
standards.
it. Like that's what I'm getting.
Absolutely. That is your rock. That is your
Okay.
foundation. The next thing is, okay, now I have this certain strengths and I have these weaknesses. If you're in affiliate marketing, then you need to find the thing that aligns with, again, your purpose, like I first started that network marketing company. Great. But everything that I had to do was in complete opposite of being present for my family. Because as you start going up in the ranks, you got to attend more meetings. You got to fly out more. You have to attend conventions, and that's good for some people. But if you're If your standard, if your personal value is, I don't want to be away from my family like that, then that is not the business model for you. That's just not the business model for you. There's a million and one ways to make money online. You have to find the one that aligns with your strengths, your gifts, your talents, and your purpose. All of it.
Oh,
They
that was
all
a
have to be
great
in alignment.
360 moment for alignment.
You have to
That
be in
was a
alignment. Because if not, you're going to feel off and it's not
great.
going to work. You're not going to be able to see it through, you know? So yeah, that's that's it. That's what I do. So it's like a puzzle. Like if it doesn't feel, if something's off, you feel it. And sometimes it is not you. It's you're in the wrong location. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah. Environment. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're
You're in the
putting
wrong
down.
location, the wrong business
Interesting.
model. So it's
Wow.
just you gotta insert yourself into the right business model, into the
Business
right
model.
community, into the right thing that supports
Yes.
your purpose.
Mm.
So those are the things that I've learned.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Like in alignment, and then obviously my thing's about engaging with them great areas that give you more energy than it takes away from you. Especially when you've
True.
come from that kind of burnout and the network marketing stuff and what you've been through with the builder role, you've got to find something that plays more to your to your strengths and to your alignment. Otherwise, in the long run, it could end up being more of a headache, right? If it wasn't a stepping stone, because like you said, most of us, we find something and then if the shoe fits, then we're walking, right? One foot in front of the other before we know it, we've done 30 miles. But then we're thinking, how has it taken us 40 years to get to the promised land? But if we're in the long alignment and the promised land was that way, and we've been walking that way, and yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. And it's gonna be a long time coming. Nothing changes if nothing changes. But if we get that alignment right, we can operate in a Daniel-like spirit, and yeah, combining both will ultimately create a winner. I love that, Barbie.
Yeah.
We've
I
got
will
1 minute
also
on
say
here.
what I will
We
also
hop
like to
off and
say.
come back in.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
still, yeah, you can edit this, right? Yeah. Yeah, we're
Hey,
good. We're good.
all right.
We're good. We're good.
Go. So yeah, we're back after a little break. And what's so interesting with faith we're seeing in this story here with Barbie Figueroa, it's similar to like hope, faith, and hope. The same way, like depression and all this stuff can have an anchor in you. We see faith and hope work in the opposite effect with Barbie, right? Faith sharpened her, right? She was winning awards, building income, walking stages. However, life is still life, and there was a feeling of lost in sight, right? Because the business was running. The business was running, and it was running. I'm not going to say away from her, but it was running in a different alignment to what she knew to be the greater truth, right? Is this an official error? If not, I would like you to give it an error. I watch WWE, so they have like attitude errors and this, but yeah, as crazy as this sounds like on a level even as high as yours, like this is actually a thing before you pivot.
Yeah, it's part of the process. I wanted to mention something to tell my children, because this is what I started. I think I don't know where I got this idea from, but I was like, man, this is one of the best things I've ever thought to myself, which is start with the end in mind, right? Because one thing that frustrates the heck out of me is the way that our world works, the system works, which is basically you go to school and then a lot of people choose the occupation that makes the most money, right? They tell you
Makes
you can
sense.
be a lawyer, you can be an officer, you can be a fireman. Here's the box, and
Yeah.
here are all the professions in this box. Which one do you want to do? Well, obviously, some people want to do the one that makes the most money. Other
True.
people are like, I don't know if I fit into any of those. What other careers are there? Like, I don't want to be a firefighter, even though I love firefighters. They're such a noble profession, but I don't want to be a firefighter. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't see myself fitting into any of those. So, but what happens is that a lot of people, they will pick the one that makes the most money, obviously, because you're going to have the best life if you make the most money. And so that person in another reality, they may have been a painter, or they may have been a musician, or they may have been just someone who babysits dogs all day because they love dogs. But because this is the box that we've been presented, well, I'll do this career. And sometimes it's a hit. It's you hit the ball out of the park, and you are just blessed from the beginning. You pick the career. You are the fireman, and you love doing it, and it's a fulfilling career, and you were just from the get go. It just fit. But there's other people that they go and then they put all the money into the learning, the college, whatever. They get out, they start the career, and they hate it, and they absolutely hate it, right? And it's like, why does that happen? It's because we're not starting with the end in mind. And so what is the end in mind? What is the end? What is the kind of life that you want to look like? When an engineer builds, whatever they build, they start with, what is the ultimate purpose of this thing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I'm not going to try to find out when I get there. I need to know, what is the final destination first. Where do you want to go? It's like when you do when you put in, when you get into your car and you're plugging into the GPS, what is the destination? Where are you trying to go? Oh, I want to go to, whatever, Washington. Okay, great. So there's a few roads that are going to get you there, but ultimately, you want to get to Washington, right? So for me, I wanted to be a present, happily married, stay-at-home mom. That was the goal. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what road we're going to take. The road I want to go on might be blocked. And the GPS is going to say, no, sorry, there's a roadblock there. You're going to have to go this way. So you follow it that way. And then you keep on going that way, And the goal is that you ultimately get there, And so your smile is so bright right now. It's just a light, I swear. So yeah, so that's it, Richard. Like, start with the end in mind. I tell my children this. Oh, I want to make money. Wait, before you start thinking about, I know we all want to make money because we have to pay our bills, right? I get it. But what kind of life do you want to live? When you wake up in the morning, do you want to have a cup of coffee, say good morning to your wife, and say hi to your children, and have a little bit? What do you want your? Now, some people, everyone's is different. This is what's amazing. Everyone's is different, and there's no wrong answer.
No wrong answer.
No, but the thing is, we're kind of like conditioned or whatever to believe there are wrong answers. It's got to be this way. Just in school, it's got to be this. It's got to be this. It's got to be this. And if not, you get a big fat red F, right? So, yeah. So and we all know what that means. You know what I mean? There are no wrong answers because we're all built differently. You know what I mean? So start with the end of the mind. What is the thing that you want to experience in your life? Like, even my son yesterday, we're having this conversation in the kitchen, and he's like, "Oh no, because I want to be able to travel and this, that." He said, "Don't you want to travel?" I'm like, it's just not in me. There's people that they have that desire, that they want to jump on an airplane and see all different things. For me, I'm just kind of boring. I just like, as long as I'm with the people I love, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, take me to a coffee shop, take me to a little place or whatever, but I don't have these. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way I am. You know?
Absolutely is not.
Everyone's different. Everyone's different. So the thing is try to align the income streams or the business models that are going to allow you to create the ultimate goal that you want. And there is no one way. There's a lot of different ways to get to Washington, D.C. There's just a lot of different ways to get there. You just got to figure out what is it. Because what happens is we start with, well, I want the career, and I want to do the one that's going to make me the most money. But you didn't take into consideration that career means you got to get up every day at 4:00 in the morning. You got to show up at this place that is whatever, and know it. And so I'm a firm believer of, it's like, try it before you buy it, kind of like. There should be, like, if you want to be, I don't know, whatever you want to be, you should be able to try it for a couple of weeks and see what is that day in the life of this career or this thing. Because then maybe there's nothing wrong with you. You're just in the wrong location. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, like, network marketing. I love network marketing for other people. I love it for other people. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be on stages and speaking to big arenas and traveling the world, and you like to be surrounded by a lot of people and all this stuff, and you want to make an impact of what, and that's great, because that particular business model gives you the platform to do that. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
of the greatest people, I think, come from that industry. The way it shapes someone. Like you said earlier, the foundation, it's like a real world business university through
It
network marketing.
is, and I love it. And that's what I love about it, because it is a crash course in personal development, business, and it is, and that's why I don't like when people talk bad about it. I'm just saying that it might not be the business model for you if you have XYZ goal,
Yeah.
you know, but there is
And in
still
your evolved versions of you as well, like, you're always pivoting, and like you
always.
said, everyone's unique, and that needs to be explored, right? Like, you shouldn't downplay that and then spend too many days in the abyss of your soul. Like, you need to explore that and find out if there's another version of you.
Absolutely. And so there's nothing wrong with, like, like, uh man, there's things I don't, like, I don't want to express completely because people might not understand what I'm trying to say, and I don't want to come across the wrong way. But it's like I forgot what
I
I was going
love
to
the
say.
Washington DC analogy of the roads as well. You're so right. Like, you got to know where to finish to know where to start. If I've learned anything from superheroes,
Yes.
it's
But that's the
it's that
thing.
one there.
Because, like I said before, there's a million and one ways to make money. There's a million and one. You got to fit the one that fits
Good
you.
time to be alive right now. You're right. It's this is our equivalent to the California gold rush right now. Word to Robert Kiyosaki. Right now, it is such there's a million ways, but then you have to now, like, almost close. I mean, to if you're gonna be like it depends if you like, if you want to specialize and be a master of one, or you're still in the idea of, the society standards of which they've imprinted on us. It's like, just get a good job and earn money. Like, everything else is not in consideration until you're maybe, uh, maybe broke as a joke, maybe depressed, maybe you've crashed out, maybe you're just in hospital for whatever health reasons and it's draining you. Like, yeah, everyone's story is so different. And when some roads are blocked, I like how you was explaining that, because I adopted something from Trent, one of Dean Graziosi's friend, I think that's his name, a brilliant entrepreneur, but he does the motivation speaking and stuff. But he said, like, don't like life will trick you sometimes with them blocked roads. Like, you could end up feeling like the event is a failure, right? Like, that first business that failed, that work you was in, that little situation that's gone a bit left with a business partner, you could end up thinking that you're a failure. When reality, it was just the event that failed. And some people, they don't recover that from that, Barbie, right? That
Yep.
that L or that moment or whatever, like, took them out. So going back
Yep.
to, that faith which you've built and you've embraced, like, I love how it's your energy is absolutely, like I said, this woman is, she went straight past the moon and she went to the nebula. Yeah, oh my God. Like, faith has put a different kind of pip in your Barbie. Do you know? It's wonderful. Wow, 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 wow. You're speaking of unique. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I really appreciate
You're
that.
one of a kind.
I really appreciate that. And actually, I remember the thought that I had before, where, because we're trained to think in the 9 to 5, like, you shouldn't be changing your job very often, and you should just, be loyal and company man and this and that. And that. But the only way we're really going to find out what we're good at, what we're supposed to do, if we should be there, is trying different things. It's the only way. There is no manual. The only way that you would know is, you know, like, by process of elimination. Like, for example, like, when I was when I was in high school, there was two things that I was actually pretty good at, and that was, I was in journalism, right? And I accidentally ended up in theater. I didn't
I can
want it.
see that.
I
I can
did
see
not
that.
want it. I did
You
not
did
want
it.
it. I was like, I wanted home ec. I wanted to learn how to bake cakes. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. But
Well,
it was full. There was no more space in home ec. So I ended up in a theater class. I'm like, what the heck? Theater? Me? No way. There's just, like, I'm an introvert. I'm shy. I don't want to get on stage. I don't want to do those things. And sorry, but that's all that's open. So you're gonna have to just deal with it. I remember my teacher was like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm here. Well, guess what? It was the best experience ever because it brought me out of my shell, because I was a very shy, very, very loner type of girl, right? And so it
mm,
brought me out of my shell, and it made me feel more like comfortable with, like, speaking to people, and it made me feel more alive. And I was like, wow, it was like the best thing. And I ended up winning awards and everything because it was something that, I just feel like God detoured me. It was like the GPS. I wanted this, but it's like, no, 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 no. you're going to do this, you're going to do this, right? But you're going to do this only to the level where I need you to refine a certain part of yourself, because here's what happened. Then I actually, with that theater skill, I want you to listen to this in the frame of, it could be something that you're going through right now, and then it stops, and then the opportunity's gone or whatever, and then you think, oh my god, like you said, oh, it's a failure, it's over, it's just, no, you learned what you needed to learn from the lesson. That's it. Now it's on to the next thing. But since we're so drilled to think you got to be stable, 9 to 5, you got to be this, and da da da. Any deviation from that, there's something wrong with you. It's not, doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? And so it's a very organic process. I love that meme. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook, where people think success is like this, like a straight line up. And it's like, really, it's like this. And there are like a bunch of scribbly lines, and then it's down, and then there's a little scribbly line. That's what it is. It is actually what it is, you know? So anyway, so I went on to actually audition for Florida International University,
Oh
which is
wow.
a big school down here. Yeah. So that I was like, okay, I'm in theater. I won awards. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna become an actress. That's what I thought, you know. And so I went and I tried out, because they were giving away full tuition scholarships to FIU, and I
Awesome.
was like, I am gonna go try out. So I went to try out, and out of like 500 kids, I got it. Me and this other girl, we got it, right? And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to be in theater. And when I got to the first class, I'm not going to go into the details because it's kind of like whatever, but I learned that in order to be in that world, you had to compromise a lot of your values. You know, you got to kiss strange
Interesting.
people, things like that. You know, and remember,
Yeah, Hollywood is indeed.
my
Hollywood, I've
ultimate,
seen that.
yeah. So
Uh,
my ultimate goal was to be what? A present, happily married, stay-at-home mom. And I didn't have kids or a husband back then yet. But I knew that's where I wanted to end up. So I went into that theater, and I was like, I didn't think it through. Because in high school, you don't got to do that stuff. High school is just like play, you know? But in college, now we're talking a different thing. And now it's like, okay, now it's like, we're going to see who's really going to like keep going. You know, this is a filtering system, you know? And I was like, I can't do that, because one day I want to have a husband, and I don't want to do some of the things that you're going to have to do. And I just, that's the way I saw it at that moment. And I was like, I walked away from it. I walked away from a 4-year full paid tuition scholarship. And I walked away
and
because
there's
I was
big
like,
money in acting, even adverts, even standing in the back of an like all that.
but back
It
then,
was a lot of
and that might be so. That might be so. But I didn't back then. All I could see was, if I want to be in a play, and if I want, and if there's a scene where what, I just no, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it, right? And so, and then my fallback was like journalism. And then I'm like, okay, I can write, I can report, I can do this. I had to write, you know, like learn how to write headlines and this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I can do it. But when I realized that in the journalism career, I would have to sit there and just kind of like give people bad news all day. I was like, I don't want to do that either, right? But here's the cool part. This is what I want you to learn from it. This is what I tell my kids. This is what I want you to learn from it. You want to distill it, okay? Like when you distill water, what's left of it, that's the lesson right there. The
okay.
lesson is, I was gonna go into theater, and I was had the skill set of journalism. But if
Uh,
you look at what I'm doing today, I'm
uh,
making videos, I'm on YouTube, and I have to use my skill set of journalism to interview people for their branding projects. I still have to do videos, which aligns with being able to be in front of people in theater and all that stuff, right? It's all connected. It all connects. It's just you're in the wrong location.
mm,
Theater
mm,
and traditional journalism was not the location, but that doesn't mean you
mm.
still don't have the gift or the skill. It's just you got to apply it
Facts,
somewhere
facts,
else.
facts, facts.
You understand? You just got to apply it somewhere else. So you just got to figure out, are you applying the things that you've been gifted with in the right location? And so it's not about failure. You're just probably in the wrong location. It's like, have you ever been to like you're driving to someone's house, and you end up in the wrong address? It's not that you're a failure. It's just, oh, I had the wrong address. That's it. So you just got
Tony
to find.
Robbins one time said at an event which I was at, he said, "How is the worst thing that's happened to you turn out to be one of the best things?" And I've seen that play out in obviously leading up to that scholarship in your thing. And then you arrived at a greater truth, which is some of my best days on earth, right? Them epiphany moments, them jump out the matrix moments. It was just like almost like an epiphany for you, like with that location that you're using so well. It's like to me, let me know if I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's like having your seed in the wrong environment. Like you could have the best seed, you could have the mother seed, the flipping galactic super deluxo seed, and if it's just sitting in the toilet, it doesn't matter that you've got the best seed, right? Because it's
Right.
in the freaking wrong environment. It's in the wrong location.
You got to
Am I
plant it in the
understanding?
right garden.
Okay.
I learned that from a mentor, and when he said that, I was like, "Oh, I get what you're saying." He goes, "Some of you are just you're not failures. You're just in the wrong location. That skill set that you're using here, and it feels like it's not working. If you take that same, pack up your little backpack and take all your gifts with you, but if you apply it here, it's gonna work. Do you
Wow.
understand?"
Yeah, yeah. That's gold. That's gold. And am I understanding that? With what
Yeah,
I said to you,
that's
it sounded like I'm understanding. I just wanted to make sure because that's so good. I wanted to
that's
make sure
it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. And yeah, for the viewers, I hope you take some notes. This is a gold mine.
That comes with
Uh,
age, experience, all the things. It's yeah, and
do you
you
know
got to.
Esther or recall her testimony? Like, yeah, this era is giving me a little bit Esther vibes.
It is Esther vibes, man.
Yeah,
Nothing is
like
nothing is
actually like
wasted.
positioned in for our viewers who are watching this, or if you're not familiar with this book, it's been around a long time ago. She's a character in the book, right? And she's Esther's position in public, right? And her purpose, like we was talking earlier, is only revealed through this pressure, right? Like, we've seen Barbie some moments was winning in public, but suffering in private, like despite the position, that can turn a princess into a queen, right? The platform came before the purpose was clear. And it's in that moment, hopefully, with some sort of hyper awareness, or if you've been picking up them, if you've got some sort of them foundational habit standards and you just have your values, I feel like they can protect you in their moments where you doubt yourself, others are already doubting you, that you don't need to add to that doubt. You need to put your energy in being in the right location, right?
That's it.
So
And the only way you do that is, like I said, it's frowned upon to try a bunch of different things. I remember when I first started network marketing, they would make fun of people that would jump the shiny object syndrome. They would jump, 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 jump. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes people are just jumping because they don't want to do the little work. They don't want to do the foundational work.
jump from what? Jump from a different product or to a different company?
That, like a different company. Like that was a big thing. Like, oh, today I'm with Amway, tomorrow I'm with this other company. Then now, there are some people that they jump because they don't really want to do the work and they think the grass is going to be greener somewhere else, right? So, for example, for me, I eventually, even though that company that I was with, the software company, um, they weren't network marketing, but when they first launched, it was more like a business opportunity, right? It was a tool wrapped up in a business opportunity, right? So it had
Yeah.
that team building aspect. So I treated it as such. I treated it as like a team building kind of thing. And so I treated it as if it were network marketing. So see, that one worked for me. I hit it out of the park. I was like, one of the top leaders inside of that company. It was, but all the other things that I tried, it wasn't because I didn't want it. It wasn't because I was not willing to do the work. It was because it wasn't the right location, right? Once I got into this other software company, everything aligned. It used all my gifts, my strengths, my talents, what I knew about web design, what I knew about marketing, what I knew about branding, what I knew about funnels, what I knew about websites. And then there's a tool to support all of it. Boom, bam, beam, bam, boom. It was like the stars had aligned and it was amazing. But guess
Let's
what?
go.
But guess what? It was over because the program was terminated. You know that. And so now it's like, what do I do now?
Oh, this is
Where
a
do I go
builder up.
now?
This is builder up. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I didn't want to say the
Cool.
name, but yeah, I didn't want
All
to
right.
say the name, but yeah, like yeah. And so after that happened, it was like my world crashed because I had wrapped up so much of my hopes and dreams and everything into that experience, and and some people they just went on to another company and no big deal, whatever. But it was harder for me to like gain my ground again, like to like gain my footing again. It took me a while because it was like the first of many things for me. It was the first time that I actually finally made it. It was the first time that I actually,
like I was surrounded by an incredible community. To this day, those are some of the most amazing people I've ever had the privilege of being able to work with. I mean, amazing people. But you would say, well, why don't you just go and do it? Because like why did I go and just try to recreate it? Because it was just a moment. It was a moment in time. It was a season. Like back to
Mm.
Ecclesiastes. It was a season that I can see it that way, that I had to learn from, so that I could step into that next level, of whatever iteration that's gonna to look like for me. But it came full circle, because now I'm back to, like, okay, well, I want to do the branding, and I want to help people, like, express themselves through business, and so for that, they're gonna need a website. They're gonna need someone to help, position them and show, show their gift in a way that they can't see it themselves, things like that. So yeah, the experience taught me a lot, but it was really, really, really hard, because I wrapped up a lot of my identity in it, all those things. And so another thing is, just don't get too attached to anything, because if it's still of the world, it's not something to be attached. Just see it as, it's just a it's not a failure, it's a season, and as long as you learn from it, you're good. You just got to keep going.
Oh, that's so good. I believe in the same thing, like, introspection leads to growth if you handle it right. And that's
Right.
one thing about you, you've picked up this knack of being that your best room to be in is that room for improvement. But like anyone else who was involved with that or impacted any type of way, like that was like you lot went on to impact people, and I feel like people just benefited from not only your business side, just meeting people like you who've got this kind of moral obligation, like the kind of school. I've got to big up Eric Salgado while we're here, and just the I look at you, I look at James, and like amazing, amazing, amazing people, man. Like I wish I got into it earlier because, like you said, everything has a season, and at times I
Ah,
come a little bit too late. But one Eric Delgado story which I share with you, which impacted me. I was he talked about one time when he was at six figures. He was in six figures, but life is still life in. He was talking about he was still going at food bank. And obviously, for anyone on the outside looking in, people are wondering, like, how the hell can you be on six figures and still need postal stamps or whatever, wherever? But what I realized, there's obviously trials and tribulations at every level. Just because someone's rich does not mean they cannot be depressed, anxious. It does not mean they cannot have the worst day and the best day of their life. Does not mean they can be broke on that level, right? With income and outcomes and whatever's happening. So I was looking at his story at a time, which I was at a food bank, and I arrived there one time, and there's a woman with like curly hair, right? And there's another person who's there, and she's asking him to go because I don't know, he's been there maybe too many times in a week or whatever. And then she's looking at me after, they're like, yes, sorry about that. Like, and I'm not sure. It's like sometimes like maybe they're expecting you to say something bad or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you're a manager. I understand. Being your own boss, things change. Depending on what you're dealing with. And I told her at the same time, thinking, woman, like so many people's lives are tied to nothing, and yet their life still comes to an end, or they're on a receiving end of the shorter straw, and now they're here at your grace, at your mercy, right? But she was the manager at that food bank. And what's surprising, that was actually, I want to big up that food bank. That was she gave me a healthy food bank. And it was just compared to what I got or received or whatever. Like, yeah, she gave me a good feedback, a good food bank at that time. And I was just thinking, in what I've said, I don't know if that was her levels or if that's just her standard of operation, or it was because of something that I said and it touched her. Because going back to what you were saying early, like, with our loyalty and our love for people, like trees don't eat their own fruits, Barbie. Do you know what I mean? It's for other people. So anytime we have above ground to give back with our blessings, to put someone else back on their feet, and until it's that time, it's not really about flexing. Like Alexander the Great said when he come into power, the only thing that matters is once you come into once you sit down on your throne, is what you did. And yeah, on that day, I was thinking about Eric's situation at a time where I was going through there. It's like, raw, my empathy increased. I don't come from like a concrete jungle prior to that. Like I didn't have business instincts. Like, my favorite frame was probably more destructive, but I was like street smart. I had a whereabouts to me. And like, apart from my faith, I think being curious has got me way further than being smart ever did. So I've just been riding that
Absolutely.
horse all the
Yeah.
way into the sunset, Like
Yeah.
but through the network marketing and just scheduling, learning about yourself, my empathy improved because every Wednesdays or Thursdays I was setting an hour to learn about empathy, right? Whether that's through a movie or through a documentary. And in that moment, again, I like, when some people feels that some moment where I'm like, am I supposed to say something bad or what am I supposed to say? Like, like God, are you like, it's like say something. But in that moment, I was seeing the effects of me being curious and building certain habits and working on my Solomon temple because my empathy really showed in that moment. And we come from a place where once upon a time, love can can blow out your candle for the sake of keeping it PG, right? But yeah, you are crushing it. Like externally, what was the version of you that maybe nobody saw?
You're well. It's like what you said. Even someone who's making money, a rich man, can have a good day, a bad day, a this and a that, and it's always just because money
Wait,
just money just makes things more gives you a little bit more peace of mind because you're more comfortable because you have more access to things or whatever. But the things that sometimes like you'll sign up a bunch of people and then you have people quit, so you're constantly dealing with the fluctuations of business and people coming and going. And now, even now it's like that's it. Like that season of my life is no longer. Like literally when they terminated the program, it was done and I was making recurring income every single week for 7 years. So that is rough when that is gone. All of a sudden it's gone. That's it, it's gone. So what do you do now? So I mean, I just look at, okay, well, Lord, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? What do you want me to do next? So just know that, and I can tell you from experience, I enjoyed the time while I had it because it was a blessing. When I look back at all the blessings of my life, that was one of my biggest blessings. And it wasn't just because of the money. The money was a big part of it, but it wasn't just because of the money. It was because of the people that I was able to be around. The owner changed my
wow.
life. He changed my life in two ways. He changed my life when he saw my potential, but he also changed my life when he sold the company, and I was devastated that he sold the company. But it was what he had to do for his family and for his situation. So, it's like, if we all just kind of stepped back and relaxed a little bit and realized no one's really doing anything to you like that, it's that everyone is on their own and seasons change. And there's a season to live and there's a season to die. And there's a season to laugh and there's a season to cry. And what we learn along the way is what we're supposed to learn along the way. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? And so just know that money doesn't fix how you feel. It does. Yes, not gonna lie, it is amazing. But ultimately, and this is what I'm learning in this season, is that above all, we have to trust God. That's it. Stay close to the vine. That is it. You know what I mean? If you're a believer, great. You know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then I would
You
encourage
mentioned
you.
something so interesting in there as well, like like the belief that they had for you to move past potential. And for
Yeah,
anyone who's starting in a journey or thinking about entrepreneurship journey, your way of thinking may not be the best. Like I said, my favorite frame of reference might have been more destructive, but we was around people and there was people of faith in that network marketing, but because of the way the leadership was breeding, they really cared about the development or the saving of people in a type of way, because
yeah,
you can live without other parts, but I think without the brain, what do they say? You're a cabbage. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, for me, like you said, it changed my life in so many ways. I couldn't begin to catalog from the standpoint of how I'm handling what I'm handling today in many other aspects of life too. And you've done eBay, you've done network marketing, you've design stores. You kept on pivoting. And, when I look at your work when it comes to colors, and if anyone needs a website, and so you need to check her out like yesterday. Chinese said, when's the best time to start? It was yesterday, but for you, you can start today. And yeah, when it comes to colors and them decision makings, and you've got a lot of substance, but making it appealing, yeah, I'm convinced you could sell snow to an Eskimo, like squeaky wheels get oiled with Barbie Figueroa. Yeah, yeah,
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah.
The thing to me is the individual. I'm just to me a website is more than a website. It's an expression of the individual, and I am just trying to express who you are as through the website. You know what I mean? Or whatever that your purpose is and everything. I'm just trying to communicate that through the website. But I wanted to go back really quick because I know we're kind of running out of time, and that is I just want to say, going back to the owner and how he saw my potential. See, everywhere, and this is a great lesson, because everywhere people won't give you the time of day unless you are making money, right? Right? They won't give, unless you're making and I
No, you're
get it.
right.
I
You're right.
understand.
You're
You
right.
have to quantify people's action. But because he saw my potential, sometimes all it takes is one little kind word of encouragement
Hosanna, Hosanna.
or belief or belief in that person before they believe in themselves. And watch out, because like you say, oh, they're going to go all the way to the nebula. They can, because if you can, all you need is that little spark, a little spark of the right word inside the right person, and they'll blow up,
Yeah. Tupac said
so
the same thing. That's
yep.
huge, bro.
So do not underestimate the power of a kind word and edifying someone and taking the time to just say hello, connect with a person, because it's instant reciprocation. It's good for them and it's good for you. Boom, just like that. You know? And that's what the owner did for me. And I was like, I want to be that for other people, because it isn't all about money. It's about people, you know? I had a mentor once say that you use money and you love people, not the other way
Oh,
around.
and what did Inky
Right?
Johnson? You reminded me of something that Inky said. All that matters when it's all said and done is who you've become and what you give back. So, it's crazy that through the process that we're going to, you get to do that in such a meaningful,
Yes.
purposefully way. And for me being a man, what I've come to realize, in my transitions and my evolving yet unevolved self is like, if you're not solving a problem, you're a part of a problem in this world, right? And you may not even do it indirectly, but you're getting pulled and twisted from all angles. So I hope this podcast session will be an anchor for many. We'll see, we've got one. Okay, cool. Esther says four. I think, yeah, Esther 4:14. She says, who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Obviously, now the build road's gone. You've gone into a different, you're embracing AI, still doing what you're doing, right? So when did you realize that your skill set, branding systems, and marketing system wasn't random? Like it was actually for something.
When I was left with, I don't have a company to attach myself to. See, because Builderall was kind of like a safety blanket for me because I could attach myself to it. And now it's like, this is the thing of entrepreneurship. Okay. Before you, when you are an employee or when you're working for a company, you've attached yourself, your security to a company. But when you're an entrepreneur,
Less than 1 minute.
when you're an entrepreneur, your connection is with him. He is your anchor. You
Mm,
understand? And so
yeah,
when
yeah.
I realized, if I don't have a company to anchor myself to, what do I have? All I have left is the gifts that he gave me. That's it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.